It's time to spring into something delicious with HelloFresh. Every week you get fresh, pre-portioned ingredients with recipes delivered to your door. Get 16 free meals plus 3 free gifts with code MLM16 at hellofresh.com/MLM16. We've seen it time and time again, most often a woman between her late 20s and 30s driving around in a pink or black car adorned with the logo of her company. The multi-level marketer boss babe. She smiles at you, flawless makeup, perfectly whitened teeth with a pantsuit. She looks like she has it all: wealth, confidence, status. She approaches you with the opportunity of a lifetime. Whether you join her or not, she has made an impression on you. But behind that smile, beneath the hood of that car, just beyond that lavish vacation are chains that bind that representative to that business, that community, and quite literally, the car itself. There are other lucrative incentives that many MLMs offer, but the vehicular one is sinister. Hello friends, and welcome to another episode of Multi-Level Mondays. I'm the Illuminaughtii, and today we're taking another deep dive into the world of multi-level marketing. Normally, we look at the dubious practices of these companies and how they lie to or negatively impact their customers. We've done it with Mary Kay, Arbonne, Amway, Avon, Optavia, Neora, and many more. It's not just a secret at this point that many MLMs try to spread like scabies into communities and demographics. If you're new here, we've covered distributors constantly on the prowl, aggressively recruiting anyone they can. One of the tools these direct marketing companies utilize has shown to foster a toxic and financially dangerous element: incentives. Many of the companies I've highlighted make a return appearance in the episode. They try to lure in potential customers and sellers by offering a tangible prize, whether it be a trip, a car, a title or status, or free products. It's as if they dangle a treat in front of the person who's running on a metaphorical treadmill, periodically allowing them to taste it so the person craves more. Now let me stop myself before we get too hungry here. These incentives are also used as sales tactics to get targets through the door to buy, and that's all they really need to lock a prospect in. Jackie Ulmer, a direct marketing sales consultant, highly encourages people to utilize these tactics not as motivation for their own ventures, but for driving sales and luring potential customers and downline. In her words, it provides social proof. What they're trying to prove is the idea of their company being legitimate, of the customer's investment being worthwhile, and the life of a seller being stress-free. None of that is true. If anything, it's yet another stress in the world of MLMs. It's baffling that so many people try to join the MLM companies in the first place. Even if you ignore the not very incentivized prizes, the success rate of distribution is drastically low. According to John Taylor of the Federal Trade Commission, less than 1% of MLM participants profit from their business venture, far lower than the 39% of genuine small businesses. MLM individual success is even lower than the chance of hitting it big at a casino. But hey, at least direct marketing has a better chance of success than winning the lottery. Though it's true, that shouldn't make you feel any better. But we won't waste any time exposing these nefarious incentives that punish distributors and customers alike. So let's start with the first lie: that you can earn a free car. Let's talk about it. Incentivizing sellers with a car has been going on for quite some time. Direct selling news encourages the idea of offering cars to MLM programs. These options paint the benefits of using the incentive to enhance the program. Something that isn't pointed out often is the benefits automotive sales gain to the transaction. The direct marketing outlet reports that the exposure to products was equivalent to $150,000 towards advertising. First and foremost, the programs drive sales by providing a wonderfully tangible, feel-good incentive to distributors to continue building their businesses. Additionally, the car is a literal message in the driveway about what's possible in pursuing the opportunity. It's a conversation starter with potential recruits and positive branding for the company. The concept laid out is, once a network seller has reached a specific sales level, the MLM company will reward them with cash that goes toward a car lease. Afterwards, all you have to do is keep your sales numbers up and the company will send you checks. When you look at it on the surface level, it appears to be a fair deal. Continuous production results in continuous incentives. When you look at the contract details, they reveal that the idea of a free car is a carefully worded setup. To illustrate this, we were able to obtain a few copies of popular MLM incentive programs. Now, you do have to remember that less than 1% of distributors are actually turning a legitimate profit, and most of those successful reps have a very deep downline. Not only is the average rep not going to get that luxury car that keeps them going, but they're going to work their butts off in order for someone else to get it. That means that all the pressure and stress isn't even for the individual's benefit. Remember that treat and treadmill analogy from earlier? Now imagine that you're running as fast as you can on the treadmill and you finally reach the treat. Now you have to just give it to your supervisor. Obviously, I encourage people to work together as a team, but there's no mistake here. 99% of the distributors are people running on the treadmill, and only 1% benefit from that stress. I do want to acknowledge that these sellers can overcome the pitfalls and traps that come with MLMs. Much like any workplace, committed effort can result in ascending the corporate ladder. This isn't some sort of revelation. Hard work pays off is a mantra that is universally known and utilized for better or worse. I'm a little put off by the attitude brought by MLM reps. When someone questions the program, the defense is often, it's attainable, but you have to work hard for it, as if people aren't working hard every day. It comes off as condescending and rude. And I'm not calling distributors lazy either. Individual work ethic depends on, well, the individual. But we've already illustrated the distorted concept of success these companies push on their targets. The direct marketing car lure is less attainable than the perks seen in normal jobs. I mean, take Doug McMillan from Walmart. 8 years ago, he was unloading trucks in the second lowest pay bracket, and now he's the CEO. But Walmart doesn't go around telling everyone that they too can become the president of the world's largest retailer if they just work hard. Amazon doesn't make that claim either. MLMs claim that all you have to do is develop your own downline, but to be honest, advancing in retail is far more likely and gives better long-term prospects. This is significant considering that retail is considered one of the less desirable occupations. But that doesn't mean that retail work comes without flaws. Walmart and Amazon have plenty of issues. But if you decided to join an MLM today, your chances for success are statistically near non-existent. That being said, we're going to look at specific MLMs and how their deals end up screwing over the reps. So let's start with Mary Kay. Honestly, I'm surprised that they don't pull any punches when it comes to statistics. And this comes directly from the Mary Kay website concerning their car incentive program. And it says, Mary Kay independent beauty consultants who reach the status of Mary Kay independent sales directors can earn the use of a Cadillac XT5 or cash in lieu of. Approximately 1.5% of Mary Kay independent beauty consultants reach the status of independent sales director. Approximately 10% of Mary Kay independent sales directors earn the use of the iconic pink Cadillac. The career car program also includes the opportunity to earn the use of a Chevy Equinox and Chevy Malibu or cash in lieu of. Approximately 1% of Mary Kay independent beauty consultants meet the criteria to earn the use of a career car. So if you hear anyone saying that getting a Mary Kay car is easy or common, they are flat out lying. I genuinely don't want to assume that a regular distributor is lying, but seriously, we've covered way too many MLMs and uncovered so much horrendous behavior that I can't just ignore that possibility either. Now, the lowest car level for Mary Kay was Grand Achiever. And note here that the lowest car prize for Mary Kay used to be a Chevy Cruze, but it was discontinued. As far as I know, the requirements are still accurate, but the car has now changed. Now, in order to even qualify for the most basic car, a Mary Kay rep had to buy $5,000 worth of Mary Kay items and have a 16-person team that contributed $18,000 worth of wholesale production per quarter. That is a lot of work for one sales rep, and this is where you'd find the 1% who made it. So what would it have taken to get a Mary Kay approved Chevy Cruze when it was available? Well, if you were an average seller statistically, your payment would be anywhere between $200 to $425. So the alternative to straining relationships with loved ones and buying into the cultish behavior of MLMs is a significant car payment on a 2-year lease that you couldn't get out of. Now, I do have to mention that Mary Kay offered a cash compensation option, but it isn't relevant. Most of their sellers don't make enough to get equivalent cash incentives. And it doesn't get much better for those reps as they search for higher value Mary Kay cars. The Premier Club car with the assumed quarterly earning would cost $500 per month, and the pink Caddy would be $900 a month. The hundreds of dollars in payment would be the more accurate experience for the standard Mary Kay rep. Car Bibles, who covered the leaked Mary Kay procedure, concisely described the consequences if a rep were to fall below criteria for the desired vehicle. If your team has 6 active members and purchase at least $5,750 worth of Mary Kay wholesale goods each month, then sure, your Chevy Cruze is free. If you slip below that, then you owe Mary Kay money. If you slip too far, then that car is theirs. Not mentioned in the description is the requirement that Mary Kay has for the vehicle. Images of their logo had to be placed at specific positions on the car and stay there the whole time. To me, there is significant symbolism here, and it applies to the MLM car program as a whole. It's one thing to own your own business and use your vehicle to advertise it. It's entirely different to have a company require you to put their logo on a vehicle you consider yours. I have to ask for those who do go through this, is it really your vehicle? Mary Kay has guaranteed success before and received a cease order from the FTC. They ultimately ruled that Mary Kay and their reps made claims that deceived people into thinking they'd earn a huge amount of money. According to the NGO, the vast majority of Mary Kay independent consultants are making little to no money in the venture, and most don't ever earn a free car. It goes along with the whole image of the Mary Kay rep, and by extension, the MLM rep. Having a nice suit and the image of a successful, powerful person is not the true image of the individual. It is the propaganda that the specific MLM wants to portray, programming for the distributors and for those around them. A significant part of this dichotomy of the behavior, trying to appear wealthy and powerful while likely being financially handicapped by their MLM no less, is the fact that many people are addicted to the illusion of prestige it provides. It's obvious that many of them are addicted to the image as much as the company itself. I find this particular part sinister and subliminal to communities where MLMs operate. It's despicable. Mary Kay isn't the only company to make the car claim, though. Take the Monet Motor Club as an example. In their car club program, they illustrate a number of important points, but two caught my attention. The contract you execute for the purchase or lease of your vehicle will be between you and the car dealership or financial institution. And Monet highly recommends that you be completely comfortable financially when deciding to enter into a lease or purchase agreement. In addition to the monthly lease or vehicle loan payments, there will be other costs associated with your purchase. This is actually some pretty good advice, and it's also the reality of what you're getting into with these car programs. Visalus is another MLM that offers a free car program. Their BMW program is offered for regional directors. Again, high achievement for high prize. Visalus sings a similar tune when talking about requirements for their vehicle. You're required to put the vehicle in your name. You have to adhere to their specific color, black, and you have to take the branding kit and place it exactly where they tell you to. And if you don't work for them anymore, you're still on the hook for the car. This company doesn't even pay the car company directly. They give you the money so you can do it. Now, this may seem petty, but if the company is sponsoring some sort of payment program for the vehicle, the best they could do is actually make the payment on your behalf. If that was the case, you could honestly just take the money yourself and make your own car deal. What's the difference aside from image and personal branding? It would likely be cheaper in short and long term. Now, Arbonne does make a similar pitch. Get into the program, sign the lease for your car, and they will make the payments for your car, and importantly, stick their logo all over it. I'm sure you wouldn't be surprised that Vema does the car program as well. The same deal, you have to pay for it yourself, there's branding you have to put on it, and you ultimately are on the hook for the payment regardless of whether you still work with them or not. So, are you seeing the recurring theme here? Because there's no such thing as a free car. There's barely such a thing as a car incentive program. The hard reality is you're buying a car, nothing more, nothing less. You're buying a specific type of car endorsed by a company you work for. Not only that, but you have to adhere to a bunch of rules and regulations regarding your own vehicle. Less freedoms, less benefit, less room for negotiation, and the very company that represents you is the one who will take your car away if you mess up. That's callous. Ultimately, you're paying for a car that isn't even yours, and sometimes you have to pay double just to get it. Before Herbalife ran into major legal troubles, again, they were guilty of encouraging their reps to buy their own products just so they won't miss out on the incentives. The practice involves top distributors buying huge volumes of products from Herbalife, storing them in a network of warehouses across Mexico, and then selling them to lower-level distributors. The business isn't supposed to work this way, and the fact that it does raises numerous red flags. Red flags. Of course, that comes as no surprise. What the incentive program amounts to is a manipulation tactic used by powerful members of MLMs to influence their downline or newcomers, whom they hope to make part of their downline. Consider for a moment the possibility that these incentives could be a form of conditioning to unsuspecting victims. But getting you behind the wheel of brand new, unbreakable auto contract isn't the only thing you have to look out for, because there's more. If the MLM companies aren't pitching you with a car, then a marketing ploy they might likely be using is a free trip. And look, I get it. Being able to kick your feet up in Hawaii or explore rich Celtic culture in Ireland are amazing opportunities. Everyone wants the ability to make those memories. Many of the direct marketing companies sell the idea that your hard work can lead to these prizes. Meg Ream was a LuLaRoe representative in 2017, and she predictably had good things to say about the company and the free trip she won that year. Keep in mind, in order to earn this reward, her team had to have 4 months of sales over $12,000. Every individual member of her team did not get to go on the trip with her, though. This is a really cool thing that LuLaRoe pays for every year, and since there are training sessions involved, it is completely free. No taxes need to be paid. Plus, you get to write off the expenses to get there and back. It may have been hard to notice, but getting to write off the expenses would mean that she actually has to pay for that flight, as well as any lodging costs. Considering what we've already covered on this particular MLM, it does not surprise me that their idea of a free cruise only applies to the cruise itself. This is a misleading claim to have, and many times the cost of actually getting to the cruise far outweighs the cruise itself. The same pattern continues, unfortunately, with Monet. Given their car incentive, I didn't expect much better from their vacation package. Now, what I found interesting was that these trips from MLMs are all set on specific days. The reason is there are ulterior motives for the trip, whether there's some sort of training or award ceremony, or if it's in the dead season of that particular location. When looking at Monat's travel package, you immediately notice that the list of things they pay for is much longer than what they actually offer. At the very end of Monat's travel file, they tip their hand and reveal where the cost lies. You, the market partner, accept sole responsibility and agree to pay all federal, state, provincial, and local taxes on the value of trips, prizes, or awards you accept from Monet, as required by the laws in your country of residence, and further agree to indemnify Monet from any failure to pay such tax amounts when due. All the taxes piling up as a result of the trips, food, flights, activities, and so on, even if you hit all the parameters, you are guaranteed to pay something. And what rubs me the wrong way about these MLM packages is stuff like this. They're pretending that you're getting some sort of reward for free or that you've earned something from the kindness of their heart, but you really aren't. There is almost always some sort of angle these shady companies are pulling. It's become quite obvious that the first step to looking at any of these promoters is examining the fine print. Mary Kay also uses their vacation cruise system as a means to ensnare their distributors and customer base if they fall for it. In 2019, this company offered the Red Cruise as a prize to consultants. There were, of course, benchmarks that a winning consultant would have to earn in order to get it. First, they would have had to have purchased $3,600 of inventory in the first half of the year. They also needed to create 6 new consultants that purchased $600 worth of inventory each, matching your monetary investment. 3 of those 6 consultants needed to have their own recruits. In short, to get on this cruise ship, a distributor needs to essentially climb to the top of their food chain. This one person has to build a team of 15 people making thousands of dollars, $900-$225 to be exact. And to compare, I took a look at Royal Caribbean's current cruise options. Their most expensive 5-day cruise is $939. You can actually book rooms today for as low as $200 if you're headed to the Bahamas, just FYI. If you go just by the numbers, a distributor is giving Mary Kay anywhere from 10 to 50 times the value of their prize. It's just not worth it. Most people can legitimately earn the Mary Kay cruise by saving their money and planning. I know there are many who are living paycheck to paycheck, so I obviously can't speak for everyone, but for those that do have a little extra money, you can save the money and it would still be cheaper than being a Mary Kay consultant. That's the only point I'm making here. The alternative to taking the cruise is $1,500, which still doesn't match up to the level of investment the winning consultant steered towards the company. At the very least, those winners get a return of approximately 18% of their monetary investment. Can't really do anything about the labor, the stress, the pitching, the parties, and any other costs to developing that downline. If you ask me, it's a pretty crappy win. Part of the allure with these trips and the aforementioned cars is the status. And honestly, there's not much to those either. Titles and MLMs seem to be just as valueless as the prizes. But before we get into that, let's take a quick moment to thank today's sponsors, and then we're going to get into the many words that MLMs love to use. This episode is sponsored by Honey, the easy way to save when shopping on your iPhone or computer. Now, I do love me some online shopping, but keeping track of promo codes, not so much. Thanks to Honey, manually searching for coupon codes is a thing of the past. Honey is the free shopping tool that scours the internet for promo codes and applies the best ones it finds to your cart. With Honey, you just shop online, and when you check out, the Honey button appears, and all you do is click Apply Coupons. And if Honey finds a working coupon, it'll apply that automatically. Honey doesn't just work on desktop, it works on your iPhone too. Just activate it on Safari on your phone and save on the go. Now, I've mentioned it in passing, but I'm in the process of moving, and of course moving is absolute hell. And I've been buying a couple new pieces of accessories for the house, like new rugs and things like that. So when I was online shopping, I was actually surprised that a fair amount of the furniture stores and stuff that I was looking at all got coupons from Honey, and I saved 10, 15, 20% depending which store I went to, and it was kind of nice. So if you don't already have Honey, you could be just straight up missing out on savings. And by getting it, you're doing yourself a solid and supporting supporting the show. So get Honey for free at joinhoney.com/MLM. That's joinhoney.com/MLM. Paying off high-interest debt can feel discouraging. You keep making payments, but your interest basically cancels it all out. Well, Upstart can help you pay down that debt to get back to living your life. Upstart is the fast and easy way to pay off your debt with a personal loan. And you can do it all online. Rather than looking at only your credit score, Upstart considers other factors as well, like your current employment, income, and your credit history, all to find you a smarter loan rate. You can check out rates online without impacting your credit score for loans between $1,000 and $50,000. So it doesn't matter if you're trying to consolidate high-interest debts, maybe pay off your credit cards, or get some money to start a new project. Upstart is here to help. Find out how Upstart can lower your monthly payments today when you go to upstart.com/MLM. That's upstart.com/MLM. Don't forget to use our URL to let them know that we sent you. Loan amounts will be determined based on your credit, income, and certain other information provided in your loan application. Upstart.com/MLM. Someone wise once shared advice that sounds stupid when you first hear it. Words mean things. It is a cautionary tale, pleading to those that would hear to use their words wisely. Unfortunately, MLM structures are masters at manipulating words. They tend to have many steps to their corporate ladder, and when you take a look at their prestige system, it doesn't feel very prestigious. Take Amway, for example. You have Silver Producer, Gold Producer, Platinum, and Founders Platinum, Ruby, Sapphire, Executive Diamond, Double Diamond, Triple Diamond, Crown, and Crown Ambassador. All of these have the Founders adjacent, like the Platinum. They also get these little pins that they can pin somewhere on them, I guess. I assume they don't want to poke holes in their business attire, but I don't know, maybe a staging area or something, but I digress. It's a lot of rankings, is what I'm saying here. And do you know what they're all based on? It's all about how much money you make. If you pay attention to the wording, this is the company's entire core of how they value you, how much money you bring in. Avon is the same way, or at least in the UK. They are a bit more subtle with their rankings, but not by much. You have your lead rep, your leader, advanced leader, star leader, principal leader, bronze ambassador, silver ambassador, gold ambassador, platinum ambassador, VIP emerald ambassador, VIP sapphire ambassador, and VIP diamond ambassador. Like seriously, what's with all these MLMs and precious stones as part of their rank system? Now, Optavia was one of the few MLMs that gave titles subversive to their actual value. In this one, you have coach, senior coach, manager, associate director, director, and executive director. If a person hadn't done any research on this MLM, they'd think that this would refer to a sports team or a company with a legitimate leadership structure. But again, these ranks are just words. What Optavia and other companies are really saying is this: you've earned such and such money from us. Have a cookie. It feels like rank equated to emerald, sapphire, etc. It is stigmatized and targeted towards women by large. And what I mean is because society has trained men and women into the idea that women should value jewelry, metals, and precious stones. If you turn on the TV, you'll likely hear the slogan, "Every kiss begins with K," referencing K Jewelers. Diamonds, the company, also had a similar campaign exploiting historic romantic expectations between women and men. Now, I'm not suggesting that revenue should not be a core principle of a business. It absolutely should. However, the core of conventional businesses and their measurements of value go beyond just sales records. Most of the people who earn these statuses are overseeing small to moderate-sized teams. You don't see a top title of top organizer, for instance, or favorite coach. Now, I'm just spouting these off the top of my head. But how they function as a member of their team and organization should be measured on what they contribute monetarily and otherwise, not just the former. Now, as I alluded to at the beginning of today's episode, the car incentive is like a treat for those who are in an MLM. But if you're on the outside looking in, it's a trap, cheese for a hungry mouse. One reviewer described the moments just before she saw through the tactics and got away. It's a longer description, but I want to illustrate how the perk, the vehicle in this case, feeds into the overall atmosphere of the event. Here's a piece of her story. When we walked in, we walked past the Mercedes, and once we got upstairs, they said how many white Mercedes were outside, but really there were 4, 3 of which were relatives to each other. I was very underdressed. Everyone had a going out dress on, heels, jewelry. They were dressed to impress. We sat through training first, which I won't lie was inspiring. It was basically motivational speaking with pauses to talk about how great Arbonne is. I heard the phrase that makeshift cringe a million times. The best copycat wins. So we took a break and came back for the presentation. The CEO came, and I was really grossed out by how everyone was praising her. It was very much like how a cult worships the leader. The presentation had a lot of breakdowns on how to make Arbonne work for you. This is supposed to be a celebration, but it's clearly a recruiting event. The woman who received the car, her sister gave a speech about how she used to have these gross facial piercings, but now she's a lady. No, she just lost her individuality. And if we're going to be honest here, the description gives me some really strange cult vibes. But we've already talked at length about the cultish behavior of MLMs. This car feeds into that imagery, as if you're walking into a town filled with bright, cheery people, all while hiding their malicious intentions. It sounds like one of Stephen King's plots, but it's so accurate to what MLMs actually do. Carrie, a once prominent Mary Kay sales director, had a similar experience, the car once again being used as a tool for luring in targets. After my facial, my consultant asked me to stay as her guest for the meeting. She told me if I stayed, she would get credit towards going on target for her free car. Of course, I couldn't say no, and I stayed. Before the meeting started, I was welcomed with smiles, hugs, and compliments from all of the Mary Kay consultants in the room. The difference with Carrie and the Arbonne woman is that Carrie did enter the world of Mary Kay and dealt with years of suffering. We've already covered how MLMs manipulate people much in the way of a cult. In this case, the car was used as a mix between a marketing ploy as well as a place of empathy. Of course, a good friend wouldn't want to keep you from a car if you were able to help with it. The same is done for trips. MLM advisors recommend to these distributors that they bring up their own perks as well as offer them to potential buyers in hopes of bringing them to the downline. It's almost as if the car, trip, or status is like an entry drug that the dealer is trying to get you hooked on. That's a drastic comparison, but the potential financial devastation is indeed comparable. There are a plethora of reasons I can give you to avoid MLMs. They are one small step from pyramid schemes, and there is a consistent history of these companies being dishonest, misleading, and manipulative. The incentive program is yet another tool they'll try to use to suck you in. These people in these cars and on that cruise have paid a massive price to sell you the image. And remember, it's not just them alone either. Remember the analogy about the person on the treadmill? They struggle for a really long time before finally earning these prizes. But instead of enjoying it themselves, they either have to give it to their supervisor or back to the company itself. We've seen so many horrors that multi-level marketing has unleashed, and the incentive chains are yet another wild element. You get behind an MLM car and it just might drive you crazy. Go on a cruise and the cost might leave you financially adrift. All of the superficial trappings that these companies give hide the truth. They only see the people in their communities as opportunities to milk dry. I hope that you'll be wise and reward yourself for the hard work you do in your life. I do genuinely believe that hard work will pay off to a degree. But if you're working in an MLM, you've got to remember, who's the one who's actually getting paid? But of course, these are just my opinions, and that's where we're going to end today's episode of Multi-Level Mondays. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something new today. And if you did, make sure that you're liking, following, and subscribing to stay up to date on all the latest episodes. I do appreciate you spending your time here with me today. I know you could be doing 1.5 million other things, and yet you spent it here for just a moment. So thank you so much for that, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye!